You're listening to WWR Wild World Racing.
Wanna pick up the tempo?
Yeah!
Step into a Slim Jim! Turn to the spice! That beefy juicy taste!
That's Mr. Savage.
How about the funky chicken?
Is that a waltz?
Ooh, yeah! Need a little excitement? Step into a Slim Jim!
My name is Scott McGrath. The day before my 8th birthday, I fell in a pile of fire ants and suffered significant wounds on over 70% of my body. Since that day, I have made a solemn vow to kill every insect on planet Earth. I hate them with the passion of a religious zealot. Speaking of religion, of all the biblical plagues, I hate the locust plague the most. For the last 12 years, my white-hot rage has materialized in the form of my business, McGrath Pest Control. I have harnessed this unforgivable intolerance of insects and released the wrath of my fury on bugs in and around the homes of Houston. I will kill those bugs in any way that I can. Chemicals, my boot, my bare fist, or any other object that can end the life of an insect. Call 281-469-8240 and give me the honor of killing bugs at your house. I also hate rats and spiders. Go to McGrathPestControl.com.
Welcome to the inaugural WWOR radio show podcast. An expression of gratitude to all the viewers that are willing to listen to us tonight on our debut show. I applaud you all. Clap, everyone.
Yay!
Clap, 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 clap.
Beautiful. We're all
Can't clap
excited.
because it's push button start.
We're all excited to entertain you today, as you can tell. We've got Joe Roberts in the studio. Say hello.
Hi.
Hello?
We've got Alex Crapser in the studio. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. We have Johnny Reed Foley in the studio as well.
Howdy, y'all.
As you can tell, he's from Florida. From
Southern accent where there's the most
I was just trying to
transplants
convince
in any
him
part
I
of
was
the country.
country, man.
I know. Well, we need a country person for the show. You're a very good interviewer, as you... Actually, we should... the first thing we should do is talk about the Under the Lights podcast. Can you give me a little bit of information on that, Foley?
Oh, sure, why not, man? You know, the podcast we run, I don't know if that's where you kind of got the idea for this show, but in particular, it's just something we do to recap everything that's going on in the league for the IWCR. It's a lot of fun. We always get a couple guests together and sit down and just have a nice conversation about what's going on in the league. Always have a special co-host, too, Tony. Maybe someday we'll squeeze you in.
Maybe as a guest one day, if I actually do good in a race.
You did good the other day at Charlotte. What was you, 4th place? That was awesome.
Well, I got second at Charlotte because everybody crashed, and at Daytona I got fourth because everybody crashed, at least at the end. So I'm good at not crashing.
Yeah, I would include that in your interview. I'd say I was the man and everybody else just sucked.
You suck, you jackass.
Well, Alex Crapser got third in that race, or fourth. What was it?
I believe I was running third, and I barrel rolled down the front stretch and ended up fifth.
Do you have any sustaining injuries from that crash?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Well, we're all good to hear that you're okay.
Thank goodness.
That was a wild ride, though. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
I think it was just due to my lack of experience in the car. I came off of 4 a little bit tight and hit the wall, and I spun into the infield and pulled back up on the track and hit the wall and just barrel rolled down the front stretch. Just a driver error.
Well, we're all glad you're okay. That is a tough turn to come off of, turn 4 out of Charlotte, so don't blame your inexperience for wrecking there. That happens to a lot of people, I think.
The car when you're at Charlotte also tends to have a lot of a snappiness coming off of turn 4. So if you're low, you can actually go and make it so that the right rear of the car wants to just dig in and turn. So that sometimes does happen. So if he's having a loose off condition, yeah, totally understandable.
That's what I love about Charlotte. It's all 4 corners are different. You get loose into 1, kind of tight off of 2, bit tight into 3, and then really loose off of 4.
Yeah,
Beautiful track.
it could even be characterized as a push loose, because sometimes when you have an ill handling car, it won't rotate through the middle. You go and you try to torque the steering wheel too far to left coming off of 4. Then suddenly you break loose. You either go in the grass or you head out towards the wall, and neither one is good.
Well, in Alex's case, he hit the wall and
Ah,
then hit a lot of asphalt and then grass and then pit road.
yeah, none of
Luckily-
those things are good for a truck
Yeah, it's good for TV.
and shows like this.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I think Rudy Cummings was counting on the show, or the broadcast. I think he counted like 10 flips maybe.
Well, as
Wonder
long
if
as
you
it's
get a
divisible
point
by
for
1.
each flip.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe you could post a perfect score that way.
Yeah, the Olympics are coming up. He can go and just do like a backward somersault and he'll get gold.
There you go. I don't think 10 points to win the Super Bowl, though.
Never thought about
Certainly
a
not.
gymnastics career.
And Tony, I think those are 2 wonderful segues.
All I can...
Yes, I agree.
Hold
Well,
on,
which-
because we're going to get off the segue for a second, just because I have to...
Those things only have 2 wheels.
I have to explain... I have to explain this vision in my head. I have Brad from Ricky Bobby... Like, remember the Ricky Bobby movie where he was flipping upside down and drinking his tea like it was no big deal in slow motion with the opera music playing? It's kind of what I've got going on in my head right now.
Just a leisurely stroll going through the air at multiple Gs.
Yeah. But
There you
now
go.
that we've completely botched my beautifully set up segue into the Super Bowl.
You're the one that screwed it up. We
Well,
were trying
hey,
to do a segue towards sushi, and then you decided to go somewhere else with it.
Well, hey, you can go any way you want, Tony. You're the leader of this show.
No, I agree. And Foley, I apologize. I did tell you that the Super Bowl would be the first topic, so we will go on to the Super Bowl.
Pat, I think it's safe to say that all these fans came out here to watch a game of football.
John, we're in commercial.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making conversation. Come on. Football!
Now, I think the Broncos probably have the best shot. I think the Broncos are the only team in the NFL this year that has been favored to win every game they've been in, but
Sounds
How do
like
you-
Alan Bose.
yeah.
The Allen Bose of the NFL.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the Seahawks' chances?
Well, I think the Seahawks actually have a decent chance as long as the weather doesn't cooperate that much. And since it is a cold weather Super Bowl for the first time in history, and they are forecasting I have a forecast of between 30 and 40 degrees with some precipitation a few weeks from now. I think that goes and favors the Seahawks, but I think also the fact that I think the Broncos are actually a better team overall, so I think that will make the playing field very even with the weather helping the
Well,
Seahawks,
I
but the
have to
skill
correct
helping
you,
the
though.
Broncos. Well, what's that?
This is not the first cold weather game in history.
No, Super Bowl. As I said, Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yes, and
No,
the Super Bowl
no.
was in 1967, and they have not had a cold weather Super Bowl.
Depends which one you... I mean, they haven't had a freezing... I don't think there's ever been snow in one. But looking back through history, they've had plenty of games that have been in the 50s and even in the 40s.
Well,
They even had one in the 30s back in New Orleans before they had the dome. Super Bowl 6 was 39 degrees.
really?
39 degrees. Yes, sir. It's Miami and Washington, and Miami won 14-7.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting.
Correction.
I didn't know.
My apologies. That was in Los Angeles. New Orleans, Louisiana, Miami lost terribly to Dallas 24-3, but it was 39 degrees outside.
Oh, okay. Well, see, but the thing is that those are warm weather cities. So, I mean, those are forecasters that are anomalies. The one that they're going to have in New York here, I mean, it could very easily. I mean, who knows? They're forecasting 30 to 40 degrees right now. At least that's what AccuWeather was saying. But as of right now, I mean, today they have a hot wind chill warning in New York, so you'd have really no idea. It could be as cold as the Ice Bowl in the 60s for the Packers. It could be that cold. So it'll
Hell,
be interesting.
I'm looking at all the different locations they've held the Super Bowl, and the furthest one north that I can see.
Minnesota in a dome, I would think, or Detroit.
Well,
I would think.
now, and that's not in a dome because you have, they were at L.A. or New Orleans had the Superdome put in, and they got a couple Super Bowls at the Superdome. It was like, it was cold outside, but looking for something here outside. They
Cough.
actually.
Bless you.
Thank you. My apologies. Looks like the furthest north, and even this was still a dome, was the Georgia Dome. Everything else is San Diego, Houston, Jacksonville, Miami, Arizona, Texas. Other than a few up north that were in domes like Indiana, and they did have one in Minnesota. Other than that, though, they've been pretty well south of the border.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think it should be a southern staple. I mean, you should have to fight through the elements to get to that game, but in that game, I think you should be rewarded with nice weather to play in. I mean,
Maybe
I
they
remember
should
the
play in
Super Bowl
Hawaii.
40. Something, or what I heard one sportscaster say today, the NFL should just build their own private stadium in Vegas and just have it there every single year. And it would be at the gambling center of the universe, because we all know the NFL, how much people gamble on that sport, even though the
Oh
NFL
my
does not
gosh, could you
publicly acknowledge
imagine
it.
though, like Vegas, if there was a Super Bowl on top of the
Oh, that,
everyday traffic?
it would be amazing. I mean, it would be terrible to navigate it, but I mean, it would be amazing to have a Super Bowl in Vegas. I would be down
I
with
would
that.
build a stadium in Los Angeles. They're never going to get a team, so why not just build the stadium and they can have the Super Bowl every year? They've had enough of them there anyway.
Yeah,
They used
yeah.
to have a lot of championship games at the LA Coliseum back in the day. I think that was I think they primarily did that for the Pro Bowl before they went to Hawaii, so that would be
Well,
pretty
they
good to
went.
bring that back.
It was Los Angeles, Miami, Los Angeles, Miami, Los Angeles, Los Angeles, on to New Orleans, Houston, New Orleans, Miami. Because at that point, I think they tore down the old was it Tulane Stadium or something, or
Oh,
no,
I
it
don't
was
know.
Memorial Coliseum, right?
Oh, I can't remember the names of the stadiums.
Brad is taking a bathroom break. I'm sorry, Alex Crapser is taking a bathroom break at the moment, so he'll be back in a few
Crapster's
minutes.
taking a crap.
He
Yeah,
is.
there you go. Strangely
He's back.
appropriate.
That was really
Well,
fast.
Well, going back to the actual logistics of the game, I would say if I had to pick a winner, I would say the Broncos, because they have a more sound team, and I think their front four, without blitzing and dropping everybody into coverage, will be able to get pressure on Russell Wilson without actually having to blitz or vacate any areas. So if I had to pick a final score, I would say the Broncos 34, the Seahawks 21.
I would have to go with the Broncos as well. I don't think the weather's going to play a factor because both of these teams usually play in cold weather conditions when they're at home. Plus, I don't think they have enough weapons that if
I
Richard
disagree.
Sherman... Oh, go ahead.
I just disagree. Denver has had nothing but pretty weather for the most part, almost every single game.
That's true.
They have
Really?
not had a bad weather game this year.
They have played in the cold late in the season, though, in Denver, I'm sure.
Yeah, but the cold is one thing. We're talking
Right.
rain and slow and just nasty football.
Also,
Right.
to add one more thought to that, Denver didn't even have a cold game in their playoff run. Their AFC Championship game, it was 60 degrees and sunny, so it wasn't even cold. So you could say they played in great weather the whole way, not even temperature wise.
You bring up some very interesting points.
I think I'm going to have to go with Denver in this game just because Peyton Manning and he has three great wide receivers in Decker, Thomas, and Welker, and also a great tight end in Julius Thomas. I think that's going to be too much for the Seahawks defense to overcome.
I don't think Richard Sherman can cover four people at once. He might be able to cover I think he'll cover Wes Welker. That would be my guess, because he seems like the type of guy that would uh, get man-to-man with a guy like Wes Welker, but we'll see. Either way, he can't control all of them.
If you ask me to tell you the truth, I
User joined your channel.
I think we've got a guest just walked in.
We have a guest. How you doing, Galen?
How are you doing, Tony? What did I just walk in on?
You walked on a perfect opportunity. Do you want to be interviewed?
Sure.
We'd love
I'd
to interview you.
interviewed.
Hold on. Why does my
There you go.
Super Bowl pick get kicked away from his interview?
Okay, we can talk to Galen about the Super Bowl pick.
That was about as cheap of a shot as Wes Welker's hit
Well-
on to leave.
This is my show.
Oh, no,
do
you
what
don't
I
want to
say.
go there. Well, that was a perfectly fine hit right there.
That was as legal as marijuana in the state of Tennessee.
I'm a New England Patriots fan, and I think Bill Belichick made a mistake by even commenting on it.
Well, Belichick makes a lot of mistakes as a coach, but
That's why he's got all those Super Bowls.
He'd have more if he didn't make so many mistakes.
I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
he-
if he didn't coach in Cleveland for a while, he would have done even better.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go hide now.
Hey, Bill Belichick's the reason why the Browns went down. He was their last coach.
Yeah.
No,
Then they
John
went down
Elway is
so
the reason
hard
the
they
Browns
actually
went
got
down.
kicked off the league.
Right.
I'm
And then
telling
they-
you now, if John Elway never has the drive, okay, quite simply, if he never has the drive and the Browns win that game, they easily win the Super Bowl that following week. Because I mean, let's face it, the Giants were dismal. There's no way in the world the Browns wouldn't have beat the Giants that year.
The Giants were dismal? Are you kidding me?
Didn't
They
they beat the
were-
49ers on the
Giants.
way to the Super Bowl that year?
No freaking way. Come on, the Browns. How did the Browns do that year? They didn't go 12-4.
They were really good. They were like 11-5 in slick, nasty muck and mud, and the normal Cleveland Browns.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
but to say an 11-5 team can win that game easily is saying something.
Oh, come on. It would have been a sexy matchup. Kozar
It would have been
versus
a great
Sims,
matchup.
Parcell versus Schottenheimer.
Yeah, but you made it seem like they'd win, no problem. Come on.
They would have. There's no question. Dave Damashek even said so.
Yeah, and he's a Pittsburgher, which is amazing. But hey, okay,
Oh, yeah.
let's
Well, he was sitting there talking to on his little, the NFL thing. I was watching it, and he was sitting there saying that if they won that one, they would have gone back, and they would have also won the second year. But he said probably a third thing, the most painful memory for Cleveland fans of all this, if they just won one of those games and won a Super Bowl, Modell never moves the team to Cleveland. Baltimore never gets a franchise. And so that pretty much eliminates at least 2 or 3 of Cleveland's worst sports memories, except for, blowing it in Game 7 or Jordan shot over that guy on, oh my gosh, or LeBron going to South Beach and forever being the nail to Pittsburgh Steelers hammer.
Hey.
Life's rough.
Well, just saying is when it comes to Super Bowl picks, all roads go through Cleveland apparently. So hey, what's your pick, Johnny?
I vote that Seahawks are going to win this game, and I'm going to project that it's going to be a nail biter. Though I really think in the end, this game's going to finish probably 27-24, and I think Seahawks are going to win it.
All
Well,
right.
we got 3 votes for the Seahawks and 1 vote for 3 votes for the Broncos and 1 vote for the Seahawks. How does Galen Gidman feel about this scenario? Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I think it's actually not going to be all that close of a game. I think Denver's going to go out there and put up a lot of points. I think Seattle's going to struggle to score, and their defense will play all right, but they're not going to play well enough to keep the Denver scoring down enough for their offense to keep up. I think it's going to be 35-21 Denver.
Wow, 1 point off my prediction. Very nice.
Well, I think a lot of it is dependent on Marshawn Lynch and how he does.
Yeah, you got to realize though that Denver defense, they looked a little iffy all season, but lately they have been on it. And I mean, all the recent Super Bowl winning teams, their defenses really get stingy at the end of the season, and the Denver defense looks like a Super Bowl winning defense to me.
Yeah, I'll just add one more thing about that. The thing that I was saying earlier When it comes to a defense at this time of year that can get pressure with just their front four and drop the rest into coverage, if you can get pressure on the quarterback and get him to make mistakes while still being able to have the personnel to cover his receivers, especially with a running quarterback like Russell Wilson, he is not a technician behind the line. He is more of an athlete than anything. And yes, he does have an arm, and yes, he can go to his second and third reads very well. But because of the way that defense is so stout right now, that's a recipe that has beaten Tom Brady in Super Bowls with the Giants. They had a very stout front four and were able to get pressure without blitzing on Brady. And then they were able to go and shut him down like that. And let's not make any mistake, Brady is a much better quarterback than Russell Wilson.
Well, there's no question about that. But when you get to looking at this, the Super Bowl is going to be all about individual matchups. It's going to be who is going to be put on who, where, and when you look at it, I think Seattle has what they need to match up against Thomas on the outside. I do think that they got plenty of depth there with their safeties and with their corners, that when they go to these nickel packages, they're going to have plenty of coverage for Decker and for Welker. The one oddball, the one thing that I'm not sure that they'll be able to do, and make no mistake, you will not run against the Seahawks. If you're going to sit here and say their front four isn't just as nasty as Denver's, then you've missed Seahawks performances all year round. I mean, they have such a great front four. And if they just blitz 5, they're going to get to the quarterback, I'd say at least 4 plays out of 10. They are going to get in his face and cause pressure. But what I really think the one key factor is, and this has been what no one's been able to really stop, is Julius Thomas. The tight end has been phenomenal. He is just this extra weapon that nobody saw coming. And I've yet to see any team really be able to figure out how to, put a pin and let the air out of this kid's tires.
All right, so we got 4 votes for Denver and 1 vote for Seattle. I think it's going to be a great game. It will be a great game in that weather. But we're going to move off of that, and we got guest of today, Galen Gidman. How you doing today, Galen? Yeah, Galen, sorry.
I'm doing great. I prepared long and hard for this interview. I've been writing notes since I woke up this morning. And I don't even know what we're talking about, so I figure what could go wrong, right?
What you didn't know about Galen, he's a great on-the-fly liar.
That's like
just
telling
glad
a
you're
girl
here.
I'm not honest, but you're interesting.
Looks like we might have another guest soon. But let's focus on Galen for the moment. Galen, you were the only driver last year in Season 2, or what was it? You had the Bud Light Season 1, Nationwide Season 1, and Foley, help me out here. Well, either way, last season, Galen, you were the only driver that finished in the top 5 in all 3 series, and that's a pretty impressive feat. How do you feel about it?
Honestly, I was a little surprised. All season long, I was right outside the top 5 in the Gen 6 series, and right at the end, I was able to sneak in there somehow. And
I can tell you
honestly, with the truck series, I'm sure Joe can tell us how, right? He,
yeah.
skip Montreal, force us all into Montreal, and then skip out yourself. That was really classy, Joe.
Pretty much.
But aside from Joe's classlessness, I really don't know how. But the truck and the National Series, those were fun. I finally got a truck win and won the most races in the National season. And if I'd been able to participate in every race, I feel like I honestly could have a championship in each one of those series. So, but yeah, it was a good season. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Haven't really gotten things kicked off very well so far. I wrecked out in both the truck and the B-class race, but it's a long season. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you really struggled there with that with the B class. Just got in there and got in a bad place at the wrong time.
Yeah, I just went 3 wide, before it probably needed to happen, and 3 wide stuff's gonna happen, and it did. So unfortunately cost Zach Jahalis a little bit. I'm sorry his race was cut short, and we'll move on though. It's a long season.
Just wanted to add, Galen is one of the few racers that I know that if I'm taking a corner 3 wide with, I absolutely have no problem with. He's a heck of a driver, and the fact that he has been in the top 5 with all 3 leagues, that's hardly surprising, and that's a trend that's probably going to continue.
Well, along those lines, I'll just say that I'm comfortable going 3 wide in any corner with Joe just because I know he's conservative enough to back out, and I'll get his spot. So
Pretty much.
You two are just so nice to each other.
Mutual respect.
So who's part of your team, Galen, for this season?
So this season, we've got a technical partnership with John Schweikert, and he's going to be working with us a little bit. Nathan Sedlak, of course, is full-time founding member of Fast Forward Racing. He'll be here almost every week, I think. And then another good friend of ours, Travis Brown, coming in to race the Truck Series, possibly the Gen 6 down the road, and the occasional Bud Light Series race with us. And he's newer, a little bit younger, less experienced, but he's a real good guy and a fast driver. And we're looking to win some races.
Are you the primary setup source for the team?
You know, Schweikert's been helping us a lot here lately, but primarily, yeah, I'll make most of what we have. Nathan's real good at shaking a setup down and, you know, getting all that there is out of it, and then maybe finding things that I didn't notice in the setup that we can improve. And, you know, a lot of times he'll give me feedback, and I can take that back into the garage and work something out and get it just that much better.
Well, I hope you win one of the 3 season championships this year. The trucks are going to be difficult with Alan Bowes certainly in the mix. In the Cup Series, I think it's a little bit more even between maybe David, you, Thomas, and Patrick. Yep.
We'll see. I know that some of those DDM guys are not planning on running a full season, so it'll be interesting to see who kind of emerges as, you know, as championship contenders if they stick with what they said and they don't actually run the whole season. I know Thomas Brayner's going to be hard. I know Joe Roberts going to be hard. Foley's been really fast lately. And, you know, Schweikart is obviously a fantastic driver, 5,000 I rating, I think. If he runs all the races, you know, he could easily be the favorite. It'll be interesting to see, you know, how things end up.
What tracks are you looking forward to the most for each of the 3 series?
Oh, definitely mile and a halfs. I mean, I love mile and a halfs. Anywhere, everywhere. Really excited about running Auto Club as a league for the first time. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. The track seems really fast, really bumpy. Going to be some, you know, significant setup challenges there, but it should be lots of fun.
I'm hoping to God that a lot of people have the track because I know it just came out and I'm sure people are hesitant to download it because, well, I don't know. It's not the most fun track that people enjoy because it is, you know, just a D-oval, but from what I've heard, it's gotten a lot of pretty damn good reviews, so hopefully people will buy it and race in that race. Is it in every series this year or just one of them or 2 of them?
I think, and fully confirm this, it's in all 3. And yeah, I'll follow up on it. Absolutely, it's a fun track. It's, you know, a lot like Michigan, but a little different. Lots of fun.
All right, good. Well, enjoy your season. I hope you do well. I hope you do well in the next Daytona race we're going to do for the MLB schemes. That'll be a lot of fun. Do you have any partners that you might work with in that race, teammates, or any other guys you might work with primarily?
We'll see. Nathan and I, when it's possible, we like to work together. We work pretty well together, but, you know, in a big field, that's not always practical. So I'll just, you know, take my time. That's a tough track in those cars, you know, a lot tougher than Vegas. So we'll see. But, you know, just work with whoever I feel like I need to win the race and go see what I can do in the last lap.
Sounds like the plan for everyone, I'm sure. So, all right. Well, nice interviewing you. I'm glad you came along since our guy we were going to interview had an accident on the highway. He's in the hospital at the moment, so let's all pray for him, Dave Daniels.
Well, if he's in the ICU.
Goodness, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, not really, but...
Well, keep the illusion alive, man.
Legally, we have to say that he had an accident. Otherwise,
so
we'd be
legally,
telling the
we
truth.
have to say he's dead.
We can't tell the truth. It's the radio. Come on. We got to provide some entertainment by lying. we can only do so much with our voices, you know. We have to
Well,
make
so
up
much
stuff.
for the illusion of death.
I know. Hopefully he's alive and well somewhere.
Alright, well thank you for having me. Fun to come in here and get a spontaneous interview.
No problem. Enjoy
Thank
your
you for
day.
Thanks for coming
Galen.
on, Galen.
Yes,
Alright, thank you guys. You have a great episode.
you too. Brad, would you like any insight on any of the races you're going to possibly do this season as far
User
as
left your channel.
Mountain Dew Truck Series N4 or any other leagues, IWCR?
I think that for the most part, I'll run in the Fight Dirty Truck Series over at the NORL in 2003. I'm also running the Excalibur Racing Street Stock Series on iRacing. It's a lot of fun, a lot of competition, good competition. And I'd like to run a lot of races with the IWCR too. Hopefully I can buy some tracks and compete with them. They're all great drivers, as I've seen in my first couple of races with them.
The IWCR website is norlad4.wix.com. You can see the radio show podcast by clicking the
Actually,
button on the
Tony,
left side of the
you
website.
can now reach us at iwcr.us. Much shorter, much easier. iwcr.us.
All right, sweet. And don't forget to tune into the podcast too, weekly. Johnny Reed Foley will be there, and Scott Drake, and a few other friends will be there, or enemies.
Yes, and also with other media, Johnny Reed Foley has just landed a job with the iRacing News, so he will be writing the articles for the Class A Open Series, which I think is a big deal. It's pretty cool for him. Congrats.
Yeah,
I
man.
also got a job setting the house on fire. But thank you very much.
All those things, everybody check out.
Wait, what? Foley, talk about that. Your house is on fire?
Well, you know,
Part-time
this is a
arsonist.
radio podcast. I can walk around with my wireless headset and cook. And right now the smoke is bellowing from the stove. So it's McDonald's for me.
What are you cooking?
Wow. He was cooking chicken, green beans, and a couple other things. So much for eating healthy.
Yeah, it doesn't help if you can't cook the healthy things that you're trying to eat. Oh, God. Fire. All right, I think this is the best time for a commercial
That's the other
break at
one.
the
Oh,
moment.
boy, I've got them both going off.
Okay, let's take a commercial break as we jump out of the studio and run. So, we'll be back in a few minutes after these commercial words.
You're listening to WWOR, Wild World of Racing.
Refresh, come on and rediscover, recharge and rewind, retreat, rekindle and recover, restore your state of mind, replay, recreate a memory, relax your cares away, return to the magic of Missouri and make your getaway. Revive, get recuperated, reap your reward. Rejoice, get rejuvenated, just beyond your own backyard. Reach out, grab your loving family, take time off and play. Return to the magic of Missouri and make your getaway. Reach out, grab your loving family, take time off and play. Return to the magic of Missouri and make your getaway.
A strange affliction has come over all the young people in the land. They cannot walk. Hey, Dad, can you give us a ride to Doug's house? Doug's house is 2 blocks away. Can't walk to the show. 3 blocks away. They can dance 317 hours in a row, but they cannot walk. You wonder why they don't tie their sneakers? Why should they? They never walk anywhere. How did they get to the refrigerator to get that last bottle of Coca-Cola? Somebody must have given them a ride. But at least they know Coke is it.
Beat Yourself Up hotline.
Is this the Beat Yourself Up hotline?
Yes, sir. If you'd like to beat yourself up, this is the place to do it.
Okay, I'd like to beat myself up now, please.
Go right ahead when you're comfortable.
I am so stupid. I can't believe how stupid I am. What an idiot. I left all my holiday shipping until the last minute again. Now it's a huge hassle. Why do I have to do this to myself every year? When, oh when will I learn?
You beat yourself up very well, sir.
Thanks.
But maybe you should just log on to smartship.com.
Smartship.com?
Right. Type in your zip code and smartship.com tells you the fastest, easiest, most affordable way to do your holiday shipping, even at the last minute.
Wow, smartship.com.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I think of that?
Well...
Why do I have to have somebody else tell me what to do?
Oh, sir.
When will I ever have an original thought?
You're really good at this, sir.
I've been told it's a gift.
Smartship.com, the way smart shipping is done.
Welcome back to the inaugural WWOR radio show podcast. We got a few sports events coming up, as well as the NHL outdoor games, and we got the Sochi Olympics coming on too. So, Joe, take it away.
Yeah, here in the next couple weeks, we've got the Sochi Olympics and also the NHL Stadium Series that are going to be pretty big in North America and Russia alike. And you're going to be having your Stadium Series kicking off on January 25th. And that's going to be between the Anaheim Ducks and Los Angeles Kings. And there's going to be 4 games in all, 1 at Dodger Stadium, 2 at Yankee Stadium, and 1 at Soldier Field, and featuring the New York Rangers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Chicago Blackhawks, the New Jersey Devils, and the New York Islanders. And between the 4 of them, you're going to have the last one going to be the first day after they come back from the Olympic break, which also the NHL this year will not be having an all-star event because of the Sochi Olympics. And when it comes to the Sochi Olympics, there's a lot of how should I say tension surrounding the Olympic Games this year because of the terroristic threats that are going and happening around the games, and the fact that at Sochi is only about 100 miles from a war zone in Georgia. So the Jordanian border, it's quite a deal, and I don't know if anybody else is following the games, but that has been a headline recently because a lot of terrorist organizations are not down with the games, so to speak. So, but they'll be kicking off later here in February.
I would like to ask Johnny Reed Foley to turn his microphone down.
Shut up!
But I do appreciate you getting the fire extinguisher and bringing out the fire that was in the studio. Applaud to him.
There you go.
Very good.
Shop Foley.
Foley's a good guy. We love him. That's why he's on the show. He does everything.
Yeah, see him puts out fires.
Yes.
But I don't do windows.
Maybe after Dalton.
Oh, wow. I don't know why, but I hear fire. I hear a fire truck outside. Oh man, this must be something pretty big. There's a lot of sirens going on around my house right now.
But back to the Sochi Olympics. The one thing I will definitely watch is the luge. I love the luge. I love the double luge, or whatever they call it, the partner luge. Anything luge I love. It's like racing, in my opinion.
Do you think that they're gonna Georgia's gonna have an opinion on it this time?
Not a clue.
Okay, because that was that last time their downhill luge guy died.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how they're gonna set up the luge this time because they had openings with poles.
Yeah,
which was
that
a
pretty
huge
good.
mistake. So hopefully this is a completely enclosed luge.
Yeah.
Isn't a luge that thing that's kind of like a solo bobsled?
It's a skeleton riding. It's where you have no protection around you. The bobsled has an enclosure. You're in a vessel going down, but the luge is where you're literally laying on just essentially a sled with all extremities exposed going down a hill. And that's what happened to the guy last time. The guy for Georgia went and came off a corner and came out of the actual tube and hit a pole going down one of the main straightaways and died on impact. It was pretty sad, and I was watching it when it happened. It was pretty ridiculous. He hit it with such force that it was pretty unmistakable. You knew he was either critically injured or dead. It was pretty bad.
It's
Oh,
horrible.
my.
It's horrible to see that kind of stuff on TV.
I
Like
don't remember that.
What was it? Marlachuk in hockey
I know
was
what it
another
is.
one.
It's
Yeah.
I know exactly what it is, but like I don't remember that accident. How many years ago was it?
That was in the last Winter Olympics. That was in 2010.
I
So
remember.
that was in the Winter Olympics. I can't remember where the last Winter Winter Olympics last time were in Vancouver. So
Yep.
that's where that happened. So, but yes, this year at Sochi, there's a lot of controversy on how that's going to be handled with security and how they're dealing with just everything, because Russia is not known very well for large events like this, and they're not very well known for having safe events. So that's going to be a point of contention starting on February 7th, because the opening ceremony is February 7th and the closing ceremony will be February 23rd.
It's a real shame that we didn't have it in Russia 10, 15 years ago when they seemed to be getting on track.
Well, their government has been getting better, but they still, I call them a second world country. They have a lot of first world aspects about them. They had the money to go and bid for these games and to put up a good show, and I've heard that one of the main ice complexes or the main arenas is going to be $50 billion when it's fully constructed. That's how much they wanted to dump into these Olympics. But the USSR, Russia just in general, they have a lot of issues with human rights and other issues with their government that make it not that appealing of a destination. And in 2018, the Winter Olympics will be in South Korea and Pyeongchang, and that will not be any better of a situation. So either way, I would not be surprised if this Olympics was the NHL's last Winter Olympics to participate in. I highly doubt they'll participate in the next one. And this one, if something goes wrong, which there's a lot of terrorist organizations promising that something will go wrong, if something does happen, I would not be surprised at all to see a lot of professional athletes, at least from America, withdraw from the next games.
And that's going to be a total bummer. It's a shame because, even back in Jesse Owens and Hitler, it's always been a controversial thing.
Yeah, 1936.
All these are games, and there's such controversy involved just because these countries can't get along.
Well, it's a lot of religion too. It's a shame. There are
Oh,
a lot of organizations saying that the games are an abomination, or however they want to say it, or it's a staple of the West or whatever. It's just a bad location. I'm very shocked that Sochi got these games. I wasn't paying attention to it till just recently, and then I realized where it was, and I'm like, that's only 100 miles from a real war zone in Georgia, and that's only. The distance from Sochi to Tehran, Iran, it's 1,000 miles, and that's essentially from Pittsburgh to Oklahoma City. And in between then, there's several war zones. So if you think about it, like if just from Pittsburgh to Columbus, Ohio, or to Cincinnati, that's all the further the distance is from some really bad places in the world. And you're going to have some of your top-level athletes throughout the entire world that close by. And it's actually a very unnerving thing when you think about it. And there's even stories of athletes going and keeping family members from not coming to these games just because. And Russia's promising top-level security, but if they want to get you, they're going to get you. So you never know.
I just hope for the safety of the participants and the fans that show up.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, they'll all be safe as long as I'm not the one doing the cooking.
This is true.
Yes, that too.
So it was your cooking that caused the fire in the building.
Well, I was hungry. What can I say?
Well, he starts the fires, he puts them out. What can we say? All right, Foley, we are ready for news.
Well, come on over, baby, whole lot of shaking going on. Well, come on over, baby, baby, you can't go wrong. We ain't faking, there's a
I'm excited to bring this part to you. I'm not really excited because it absolutely makes me miserable. But has anybody else heard what NASCAR is wanting to do to the chase?
No, I have not. Enlighten us.
Oh my gosh. Alright, NASCAR, if by chance this just gets shared on the right Twitter feed and approaches the right desk, I beg of you to listen to me as I insist that you do not go forward with any more changes to the chase, because if the chase isn't bad enough that we are running some kind of cockamamie playoffs that no one who ever watched NASCAR before asked to have, now you're talking about eliminations as well. The new plan for NASCAR is that there will be 16 drivers to make the chase. And out of these 16 drivers, they will eliminate 4 of them after 2 races. And then they will eliminate 4 more. And then they will eliminate 4 more, etc. after every 2 races until finally there is a 2-race dash to forget the cash that will set up where there will be 3 drivers for the final race at Homestead, where whoever finishes first in the last race wins the championship. So NASCAR, whatever it is that you are smoking, please send it back to Colorado and use your head, because all you're doing is alienating fans, both old and new. They want nothing to do with you. You know why? Because everything you're putting out is starting to really suck. Instead of trying to make these cars handle good, you're too busy worried about all these other different elements and what they're going to do here and what they're going to do there. Well, you know what? Raise them things up. Make it where there's a lot more driver ability and where these things don't seal off every time they go into the corner like there's some kind of vacuum system. And let's start making racing about the drivers. Let's stop trying to make playoff formats and reward people who can do good at 3 or 4 tracks at the end of the year. And let's focus on being able to survive a 36 race long season.
My grand issue with the championship chase, or getting into the chase, is if you win one race, you're in. Like if David Reagan wins another Talladega race and finishes 30th in the points in the regular season, he's in. And I think that's absurd.
And then you know it's going to only cause more strife, because then you're going to have whoever's backing David Reagan, Roush or whatever company it is. Now all of a sudden he's going to have some kind of invested interest in that team as well, trying to win, which is another problem. There's not enough teams. There's all these tier and pay levels. NASCAR's so screwed up right now, and it's all Brian France's fault last time I heard.
Well, it's a shame that these nationwide drivers with all this talent can't get a cup ride, because they'd rather run a nationwide team that's good than an average middle team cup team that's not so up to par, because there's so many non-up to par teams. Back in the day, you used to have about 40 different drivers that actually deserve to be there. Now you only have about maybe 30, 28, 25.
And they say, oh, the talent pool's so thick. Really? Really? It's the talent pool is that thick that we have guys like Mark Martin up there, who I love. Don't get me wrong, no disrespect. But let's face it, you know, there's a lot of drivers who haven't even seen the top 10, all right? But just like you said, they'd rather stay in the safe ride. You know, you got guys in there that are running in Roush and running in RCR, running in all these. Elliott Sadler is a perfect example. You don't think Elliott Sadler has an offer sitting on his desk for, you know, to go run the 47 car that Avi Labonte was in? You know these teams are reaching out to him, but he won't leave because he's in good equipment. He doesn't care about moving up. He's going to stay where he's at because he knows the equipment's a little bit better, and there's a chance that something might happen, that he might get a cup ride. But it's not going to happen.
I am afraid of that. I don't want the Nationwide Series to become Cup Series number 2, you know? And that's the biggest fear for me.
Sounds like to me, as a very casual NASCAR fan, that ever since I stopped watching, because I stopped watching essentially around 2005, 2006. It was essentially the year after Kenseth won the championship and they enacted the chase. When I stopped watching, it was already very heavily dominated by Jimmy Johnson and just a few other guys. And it sounds like now that it makes it so that young talent is not able to grow. So just from my outside looking in the way that Johnny just described that as a casual NASCAR fan, that sounds incredibly convoluted and just flat out confusing. And it doesn't sound like something that I would want to watch.
Well, no, they've completely ruined NASCAR in my opinion. You know, it's all about team orientated. Oh, how team orientated, you might ask? Enough that we will intentionally spin out and, oops, it was hot in the car, my arm itched. Oh, you mean now my teammate's in the chase? But because I accidentally had an itchy arm, he gets in the chase and the other guy doesn't? Wow, that's pretty convenient. Huh. I might start itching my arm a lot more.
Did that actually happen?
That did happen at Richmond. Were you not aware?
No, I don't watch NASCAR.
Clint Boyer, they had told him Ryan Newman's going to win the race. Ryan Newman's going to win the race. He's like, oh, that sucks, because that meant that Truex was out. And so Boyer, who was well into the chase, you know, his crew chief, he's like, is it getting hot in there? If your arm's hurting, man, go ahead and itch it. And he says 10-4. Next thing you know, comes off turn 4 and does the most safe slide I've ever seen. We're not talking about somebody getting loose. We're talking like they wanted to park it sideways, kind of like craziest thing I've ever seen. And next thing you know, Ryan Newman, who was leading the race, who was going to take Truex's position, he doesn't get it. He falls to the back, and Truex gets in, and Newman's out, and Clint Boyer and Truex are teammates. So that kind of games and crap going on in NASCAR.
It's pretty outrageous.
You know what else is outrageous? The fact that we have to end the show right now. Aw. Well, it's 33 minutes past the hour, and we'll be back next Wednesday. Good night, guys.
Thank you for listening to the inaugural podcast of this show, and please come back and listen to it again soon. We would love to have you.
My chicken still isn't cooked. What in the world?
And hopefully Foley's chicken will be cooked by then, by episode 2.
KFC presents a Halloween tale. It came from the dark. It began like any other evening. They were hungry. Innocently, they went to KFC, where they discovered the new KFC dark meat menu.
Look at all those low prices! Have you ever seen chicken priced this low?
Yes, dark, delicious pieces of KFC legs and thighs, flavors like original recipe, extra crispy, and even tender roast. All at low, low prices.
Look at all those pieces!
It's KFC's dark meat menu. Whatever you do, don't eat it alone.